Hey guys, Dan here with Battlefield Curator. We recently went to Camden for the reenactment. Let's go see what it's about. Now, this event is held annually near Camden, South Carolina, and has been growing rapidly in public attendance. It's about a medium-sized reenactment, and I really like the amount of history you can learn from just talking to the reenactors.
I'm a market hunter that's joined up the militia.
Okay, so how does that work for a hunter to join the militia?
Well, really any civilian can join the militia, but market hunters, they tended to go out west and sell deer skins back to England. So with the war for independence coming about, kind of hurts our sales a little bit.
Ah, okay. All right, so as a militiaman, were you kind of scared of going into battle with against the British?
Not so much. Having to fight natives on the frontier, warring with them over hunting grounds, fighting just become a daily part of life.
This is one of the Scottish fiddle tunes. So, but and the fiddle tradition, even today, comes from Scotland. I mean, there's multiple traditions, but the master tradition comes out of Scotland. My wife took a lesson because she also plays fiddle with a guy who took a lesson, going back to like the first guy who was like came up with a lot of these tunes, right? And so he's considered like the head of the Scottish tradition. So a lot of it's passed down through these teachers, right? So a lot like you think of apprenticeships and stuff from the 18th century. And fiddles, like that is still the way that they pass their music down.
This, I bought the blade, but I had to make everything. I had to make the guard and make the handle, the pommel.
There's a lot of handcrafting in the 18th century and 19th century reenacting is what you're saying.
Yeah, that was casted from original 18th century small sword, the brass, and it was rough cast, and then I fit it with a blade, and it made a wood handle. My walking stick, it wasn't meant to walk with, it's meant to fight with. You know, because you could do all the fencing moves with that stick. That's why you see, like, you know, these young guys in the prints carrying sticks. It was for defense. Sometimes they would have stage gladiator matches. They would get on stage with two-handed swords, axes, spears. I mean, you just name it. They would be blunt, but they would fight till first blood. Sometimes people died. A lot of times the guys didn't live that long.
This is your cannon. What kind of cannon is it?
It's a 3-pounder, 3-pound cannon. What it was, you see that one over there? That was the light common 3-pound cannon. And that one was standard for the British Army from 1740s, in fact, all through the Napoleonic Wars. But with the advent of the French and Indian War, which was the 7 Years' War, they found that was, for 3-pounders, which they needed, they didn't need a mile range and different things like that, so they came out with a lighter, shorter barrel, still shot the 3-pound shell with the same shot and everything, but it was a lighter, easy to move gun. First one of these was poured in 1775. 80 of them were sent over here during the American Revolution between U.S. and Canada. They were scattered but tied up and down the East Coast in the colonies.
This Rev War period camp that we found not too far from Jacksonboro, which is where the legislature evacuated to when the British took Charleston. So probably some military went there to protect them. And we found that camp, and this is some of the things we found in it. These are probably 1730s, 40s, 50s. The blue ones are little, they go from anywhere like 1770s to 1820. This is what we look for when we go into a field, because they didn't have, they didn't have a mess kit. They used regular dishes and stuff, usually stolen from a nearby plantation or something.
Oh, okay.
And
That's incredible, yeah. So you found this button?
this is an amazing button. It's extremely rare. It's called a snake button, okay? And it's controversial in the book that describes it. It has a question mark whether it's Rev War related or not. But I found this right near Continental Soldier buttons. Okay, it's definitely a Rev War camp. So that ended that argument as far as I'm concerned. And but it's got 13 bars in the center and 13 stars around that. Then if you look closely around the edge of the button, you'll see there's a rattlesnake. If you follow him on around and see his head, he's holding his button in his mouth. And if you count the buttons that you can see, you can only count 12 because the 13th is in his mouth.
It's touching the bottom right there. I have to move it up a little bit in order to get it in. That really shouldn't have any preload on it.
Oh, okay. So it shouldn't be tight like that.
No, it should be just loose so that I can take it on and off when the hammer's not in there. This just has too much tension, so it's not allowing the hammer to pop open properly. So what I'm doing is filing on the top of the spring to thin it out, trying to feather out as I get towards the tip, because on a spring, you want that force to roll out from the back all the way to the front. So I want it to be the thinnest up here and get thicker as I come back, so that most of my movement is down here. And that'll get that balance for the hammer to pop open as the flint scrapes across it. And the other thing is I'm filing at an angle. And so all of my file marks are going like this, as close to parallels as I can get with the length of it. If you go straight across, that leaves these little gouges that are in line with the deflection. That's when you get cracks. And these things break pretty frequently because of that, because they're often too strong. People try and file them down without really knowing how you should do that. And the other thing is taking them off with vice grips, which should not do. If you put force down here at the bend, that's where you crack it. You want to get your force to take it off from up here. Gotcha. We're going to keep taking some material off, taking these angled file strokes. And then the other thing that I'm going to do once I'm done doing this is I'll polish that surface back up. You can see there's starting to be a slight taper, but this was a pretty thick spring. So we're going to go ahead and put it back in and just test it, see how it goes. This is probably an Indian-made gun, which they're made by scratch, by hand, forged, filed, each one individually fit. These little 3 dots on here, I bet you that if I take apart the rest of that lock, those 3 dots will be on every single piece, because each one is fitted specifically to itself. No interchangeable parts. And when we think no interchangeable parts, again, we think primitive, like that they weren't capable of doing interchangeable parts. But the real issue is that by design, flintlocks needed to be hand-fitted, hand-filed. Their tolerances are actually really tight. And it's very difficult to make a flintlock with interchangeable parts because of the precision and the geometry. It's not really designed for interchangeability. Gun maintenance and operations. So it goes over safety, how the gun works, how the lock works, and how to get ready for a reenactment, how to keep your gun working during a reenactment, how to clean it, and some basic troubleshooting as well.
Yeah, so do you have this available on your website?
Yeah, those are available on the website.
See, my coat's got red facings, blue coat. Musicians was the total opposite. Blue facings, red coat. Now, if I'm in the middle of a battle and I want to make somebody over there quit firing or start shooting, I need to find the musician fast. Look around, there he is. It stands out, so you can find him quicker. The British did the same thing, and they had some really crazy looking coats because of that. And you might see them when they march by. You might have a guy in an all yellow coat.
we sent out a reconnaissance under John Lawrence, and he had all the light infantry. So he took all the Continental light infantry, he took militia, took riflemen. He set out a series of ambushes. Here comes Cornwallis on a horse, leading a column. It wasn't supposed to be a battle. It's more of movement to contact, confirm, and typical John Lawrence, his commander says, do not engage. Oh, yeah, whatever. Militia ambush him first. So they turn and push against the militia. Fall back, we get in the redoubt, and the guns open up on them.
Well, that's it for the video. Have you guys been to any reenactments? Have you been to the Camden Reenactment? Let me know what your thoughts are. Also, be sure to check out the merch site, link in the description. Buy yourself a cool Battlefield Curator t-shirt and help support the channel. And as I always like to say, be sure to learn history and curate history. Pulverize the like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Make it a great day.